the first time this week, this time in the Liga de Campeones, the Champions League, as the two sides go head to head once again. Of course, this off the back of previous encounters this season where both sides have met. And for Barca, they've been able to get out of the games rather victoriously in recent times and hope to do the same this time now for the third time running. It is Barca and it is Atleti. It is Champions League on this Wednesday evening, and your lineups are the following. For Barca, it is no surprise to see Joan Garcia starting tonight in between the sticks. Pau Cubarsí pairs up with Gerard Martin in the heart of the Barca defense. Joao Cancelo on the left and Jules Koundé back on the right. The double pivot, of course, consisting of Eric Garcia and Pedri. Dani Olmo in behind Robert Lewandowski, who did score the winner last time these two sides met. Marcus Rashford on the left and Lamine Yamal on the right-hand side. For Atleti, the away side today, the lineup reads the following. Musso in goal. Nahuel Molina starts on the right. Ruggeri down the left. Hanko partners up with Robin Lenormand in the heart of defense for the Colchoneros. Llorente partners up with Koke in midfield, a sort of rare appearance for Marcos Llorente in midfield, but does start there today. Giuliano Simeone on the right, Ademola Lookman on the left, and of course the double striking partnership of Antoine Griezmann and Julian Alvarez. I am Omar Hawash, your commentator for today. This is Champions League football, and you are watching BG Matchday. And the game is well underway as Atleti look to make headway down the right-hand side. And a good run here from Alvarez. He gets past everyone, and the strike is denied by Joan Garcia. It's a brilliant run from the Argentinian. And, well, he is off to a fiery start already. His strike down the right-hand side at a bit of an acute angle. Cubarsí did well to track him down and at least make sure that he didn't do much. As Barca now come forward here on the right, Lamine Yamal with some good skill to get past the line of defense. Well, the first line of defense being the Ruggeri, who had pushed up down the left-hand side. And, of course, will be getting some help from Ademola Lookman defensively as Barca fight to win the ball back in the middle of the park. Lookman does incredibly well to keep it before releasing it for Marcos Llorente. And Atleti now looking to make headway through the middle. Llorente, good ball in here for Antoine Griezmann down the right-hand side here in the half space. And the interesting part here, of course, will be which of the two in Julian Alvarez and Antoine Griezmann will play as a 9, because they both like to sort of occupy the same space in a sense. They both, profile-wise, are rather similar players, and so it wouldn't be too far off left field to expect someone like Giuliano Simeone and Ademola Lookman to take on a more central position in attack as Barca have the ball once again. Now Lamine Yamal does well here, supported by Dani Olmo. Goes for the pass across for Marcus Rashford, and unfortunately for Lamine Yamal, this time again unable to find his man as Atleti look to hit in transition here. Antoine Griezmann, supported by Giuliano Simeone on the right, opts to hold it up and goes to Koke. Ball now down the left-hand side with Ruggeri. Over for Ademola Lookman. Lookman around the edge of the box up against Koundé. Lookman goes left. Sends it in for Alvarez, who does send it back to Lookman, and Jules Koundé with a block to deny Ademola Lookman his chance. And a well-worked opportunity from Atleti, really, off the back of Barca's attack. And, of course, having come close, Barca 2 scoring early on with Marcus Rashford's efforts denied by Musso. Joan Garcia doing the same in the other end of the pitch. And it does appear as though the second ball might have come into play. Julian Alvarez picking up the ball and going to the corner flag here. And tonight's referee making sure that there's no foul play as this corner is about to be taken. Alvarez looking to go short, and it's very well read by Barca. Very well intercepted. Brilliant movements by Pedri here to get the ball away. Finds Olmo. Olmo, great turn away from pressure, but ultimately runs right into a roadblock. And we'll see if a yellow card will be issued here. Less than 8 minutes played. And Koke telling the referee that, well, it was not foul play. Pedri watching on as the pair are having their arguments. And of course, in the piece of play again, Pedri brilliantly picked it up. Pedri, of course, wearing the armband tonight for the Blaugrana. And for me, looked like a bit of a cynical challenge from Koke. And we've seen those being issued as yellow card offenses before, although not the case this time. And once more, Barca on the attack. João Cancelo down the left here, holding it up, going for Pedri. Supported here by Pau Cubarsí. Has Jules Koundé to his right. He goes to Lamine Yamal. Lamine up against Simeone. Well, opted to go back. And Cubarsí now involved in the play once more. And Barca have pushed everybody except for Joan Garcia past the halfway line. Lamine Yamal looking to make inroads here. Good dribbling as he floats across diagonally for Rashford. Touches it back for Cancelo. Good touches from Cancelo here to settle. Cancelo cuts inside, and it's just about gotten to by Musso. Good effort from the Portuguese as Barca almost found what they were looking for. Although that time, Cancelo couldn't quite get the rabbit out the hat. We'll see if he has more luck in future plays as Barca win the ball back here in transition as Atleti were attacking. Eric Garcia doing well to calm down the play, giving Barca a bit of time to adjust their positions as Barca's halfway line finds itself in its own half now. Cubarsí, of course, the right holding center back. Gerard Martin, the left-footed down the left with Cancelo to his left as Rashford and Cancelo combine well here. Cancelo looking to hold up the ball. Does so well initially, although couldn't quite keep it. And Atleti mirroring that action by giving the ball away to Barca, who then do the same by giving away a throw-in to Atleti. 10 minutes in at the Camp Nou is, of course, where this game is taking place. This is the first leg of the Champions League quarterfinal. And already, just from the teams on paper, you would imagine a very interesting game would be about to take place. But in equal measures, given the future of Antoine Griezmann, of course, a player who's played both for Barca and Atleti and has said his word on how he felt treated at Barca and how he never really felt at home with the Blaugrana. Scored for Atleti against Barca, proceeded to celebrate, and has now completed, well, the paperwork's for a move as Atleti with a chance here down the right-hand side, and the strike is very, very wayward from Giuliano Simeone. Again, Ademola Lookman at the fore with these attacks for Atleti down the left-hand side, doing really well to cut inside and find an option in Giuliano Simeone, who looked to be in the clear, although could not quite find the accuracy to match his run. And by extension, could not find the accuracy to beat Joan Garcia, who's had a phenomenal season since signing for Barca. And again, Antoine Griezmann, of course, one of the big talking points here, in part due to his past at Barca and what this game would mean to him, but in equal measures, the fact that he has completed a move to Orlando, at least the paperwork for it, and will make the move officially take place at the end of this La Liga season with about 8 games to go of La Liga football for Atleti. Of course, still the Copa del Rey game to go, in addition to, depending on how this goes, at least one more Champions League fixture for Antoine Griezmann and Diego Simeone's Atlético. And this could be his last dance in European football, potentially, given the fact that he is aging and the fact that he has as strong ties to Atleti as he does. You would maybe expect this to be his last European hurrah for Barca. They'll be doing their best to make sure that this is where the train stops and doesn't go anywhere from there. And for Atleti, they'll want to give him one good sending off. For a player who's had an illustrious career in La Liga, has constantly and consistently been a threat to the top X conversation when you talk La Liga footballers, even during the time of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi and Neymar. As Barca might have a chance here with Marcus Rashford, and it's just wide down the left. It's an excellent cross from Eric Garcia. Lamine Yamal has been unable to find his targets when it's come to passing. He's done incredibly well on the ball, has not been able to find his foot when it comes to the actual passing of the ball. And in that instance, Eric Garcia did really well to find Marcus Rashford on the volley, struck it really, really well, kept it low, and almost beat Musso, but it was offside, presumably for the run of Eric Garcia. Initially, Rashford was, of course, behind the ball at the time of the pass being played, as Barca looked to attack again here with an attempted ball through from Lewandowski to Lamine Yamal, who would not get to that. Musso clears. Griezmann looks to head the ball on and unable to find a teammate in fellow colors as Barca win it back. Cancelo. Martin with a really courageous attempt at a line-breaking pass. Did not work out that time, but he'll be sure to try that again. And Atleti now looking to attack, although quite slowly, with Ademola Lookman down the left, now going back to Hanko and Robin Lenormand. And right here for Giuliano Simeone, looking for the through ball here down the wing. Has found the support he was looking for in Marcos Llorente, who, of course, we will expect to see down the wing more often than not, as he does find Lookman with a cross. Barca claiming foul play was at. And we'll see whether the referee seems to agree with that. It does seem to be the case. And presumably for a potential handball on Ademola Lookman. Personally, on the replay, I'm not seeing it. But interested to see what you're seeing. So whether you felt like that was a handball or not, please let us know in the live chat below. This is, of course, being streamed to all streaming platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, by extension, and of course YouTube as well. As Barca look to attack down the left here, and Marcus Rashford really turning on the afterburner, is doing really well here down the left. Can he find the ball? And he could not beat Hanko in the end. And Atleti did well to win the ball back, keeping it well here in possession in their own half, in their own 18-yard box, really, as Dani Olmo looks to head it back into the path of Marcus Rashford, unable to do that, and it will be a goal kick. Again, Rashford did incredibly well, but could not beat the Atleti defense in the end. Although it did look quite promising. And realistically, no one can take that from him. Atleti looking to try once more down the left-hand side here. Ademola Lookman up against Jules Koundé. Lookman cuts inside, has support down the flank if he wants it. He goes back in for Juli Alvarez. Diagonal for Giuliano Simeone, lining up for a shot. Simeone, his shot is blocked by Griezmann, who claims that the ball hit Cubarsí on the hand. It did look to have hit Griezmann initially. We'll have to wait and see what VAR says, presuming that there will be at least a once-over by the VAR team on that instance of play. And should a handball indeed have taken place, we will, of course, see the play be called back for the subsequent penalty, or at the very least, an intervention from the first official. As Barca win the ball back here, looking to build with Pedri. Great ball for Lamine Yamal. Lamine down the right. Lamine across for Marcus Rashford. Goal! It appears the shots were called too early, as an offside flag has been raised on Lamine Yamal. And truthfully, it appears to be quite evident. Again, good play from Barca, good play from Lamine Yamal, but the ball from Pedri to Lamine slightly mistimed by the pair. And again, watching back the handball allegation, so to speak, it did hit Kubarsi after hitting his chest and then bouncing off his hand, which was in a very natural position. And so, because of that, presumably, that would be why no penalty was given. It is still 0-0. And has to be said, tidy finish by Marcus Rashford. Good play by Lamine Yamal. Finally, his pass came through, but only after he himself was in an offside position as he received it from Pedri. As Cancelo charges down at Aubin Lenormand to win the ball back. And looks like the Portuguese is deemed a culprit here. And to me, it seems as if Aubin Lenormand actually was the man to hold down Cancelo and drag him down. And I think both being at fault here might be the reason why we're not seeing a yellow card issued to either. As Atleti look to restart play here with Robin Lenormand from their own half on the right hand of the 18-yard box. Barca win it back on the first time of asking and managed to keep it. Really, really good turn here from Cancelo. Again, so silky on the ball tonight, Cancelo, and has really settled in well at Barca despite a rocky start. Pedri here with a marauding run forward, just almost slithering his way through bodies as Atleti playing with fire here, passing it around the Barca attack, who were pressing quite well, although found themselves unable to get the ball in the end as Atleti have made headways here down the left-hand side. A good switch, a brilliant diagonal switch, really, from Ruggeri over to Simeone and Nahuel Molina. Atleti keep possession. Llorente for Simeone. Simeone thought about the through ball down the line. Ultimately went back for Marcos Llorente. Ball now back with Atleti's line of defense and all the way back to the Argentinian goalkeeper Musso, who goes for a ping ball for Ruggeri. In for the on-running Koke, and Barca looking to somehow win it back without having to necessarily touch the ball and maybe get a throw in. Did not work as Koundé ultimately felt the need to try and keep the ball in play, and Barca seemed to have gotten themselves a foul here as Lamine Yamal stepped in to get the ball, was charged at by Ruggeri from behind, and foul is given, although again, no cards yet, and we're about 21 minutes into the proceedings of this game. If you're just joining us, it is still Barca nil, Atleti nil. Might not be for long with the way the game is going, but so far that is the status quo as Lamine Yamal down the right-hand side here looking to get past the line of defense, finds himself on the ground, claiming that there was a foul. Referee feeling rather inclined to disagree as Lamine Yamal charging down at Ruggeri this time. And Barca forcing an error as Marcos Llorente felt the need to clear the ball rather than pass it to the guy next to him. And Barca do get the throw in, and Atleti don't get a foul their way. Kubarsi driving forward very well here. Looking for an option. It's a through ball, and it goes through everyone for Rashford, and he almost kept it in, but only almost. And additionally, appears to have been offside. Again, the VAR images from the game, well, not the game, from the goal earlier in this game as Lamine Yamal received it from Pedri and squared it across for Marcus Rashford, who did slot it home, confirming that Lamine Yamal indeed was offside at the time of Pedri dispatching his pass. And for Barca, not a poor start to this, but equally, neither team looking extremely dangerous to the point where you'd think that they definitely will be getting the symbolic 3 points, the win out of this one, and definitely an advantage going into the second leg, which will be at the Metropolitano in Madrid. Of course, will also be the third time these teams have faced in the span of less than 14 days. As Joan Garcia stepping up to the plate and to the halfway line to help speed things up a little bit for Barca. as they have the ball around the halfway line. Jules Koundé pressed slightly by Ademola Lookman, goes to Kubarsi on his left. And Bartha looking to make inroads here. Cancelo. Pedri misplaces his pass as the run was slightly mistimed down the left side here. And Cancelo wins it back, but again, called back for a foul on. Appears as though Giuliano Simeone was the. Well, actually, it was Robin Lenormand as Lewandowski charged into him. Seems to have elbowed him in the back, the Polish striker. And again, no cards issued. The referee seeming very lackadaisical, if you will, with the issuing of the cards, which on one hand does mean that you don't get the disruption of the game as much as if you had already seen maybe 3 or 4 yellow cards. You'd have certain players maybe walking on eggshells. Not the case at all, and the referee seeming more than willing to let the players really have at it and make some that's maybe at times dubious or questionable challenges, although not to the point of risking an injury for either party. And Rogeri here down the left-hand side looking to combine with Lookman. Lookman stepping into a wall of 3 with Barca. And the attempted follow-through from Atleti denied by Kubarsi. Ball now finds itself at the feet of Hanko. Across for Lenormand and for Simeone. Supported inside by Griezmann. Finds him and then gets sent to the ground. And as Atleti are looking to advance play here with Julian Alvarez, the away side are asking the referee to kindly at least issue a foul as Cancelo virtually dragged down Giuliano Simeone. That it is very questionable that is not a yellow card. We'll have to see if it is followed up with a yellow. The foul is given. And again, 24 minutes in, no cards. And you can make of that what you will. Atleti, again, have been slow in their build-up. The same thing can be said for Barça, although Atleti have been slow in their build-up from the jump, whereas Barça have been slow in their build-up when they find themselves in the middle of Atleti's half, is when they've been slow at really trying to make those line-breaking passes and really attempting to break through that defense, whereas Atleti have found themselves to be very slow, just even advancing play from the off, and have been rather unsuccessful in finding each other when they have crossed the halfway line. As Dani Olmo this time the one to intercept play. Lamine Yamal combining with Jules Koundé down the right up against Ademola Lookman. Lamine goes back for Eric Garcia. And the ball now finds itself down the left-hand side. Pedri getting the ball and immediately is charged at by Koke. We have to keep the ball well. Now, down the right-hand side, looking to maybe find someone to unlock this Atleti defense, although not rushing anything. Here is Marcus Rashford, supported by Cancelo in the half space. Goes for Pedri. Back for Kubarsi, and Barca try again. Good move here from Eric Garcia. Finds Olmo. Olmo on the edge of the box. Olmo finds Garcia in for Koundé. Koundé with a cross in towards the back post, and it's denied at the first time of asking. The subsequent clearance from Robin Lenormand hits Marcus Rashford and goes out of play for a goal kick. And it looks like Atleti have a potential injury on their hands here with David Hanko. Of course, Hanko, only 28 years of age. Many years ahead of him, and has only in recent years begun to really be a player you see a lot of for Atleti. So an injury at this point in time would be obviously extremely sad and extremely disheartening for both him and Atleti. Must remind you as well that for Atleti, not a plethora of substitutes who could absolutely 100% change this game in theory. Clement Longley, Julio Diaz, who is a youth player for Atleti, Marc Pubil, Alex Baena, Nico Gonzalez, Obed Vargas, also only 21 years of age, Thiago Almada, as well as Alexander Sörloth, and finally Rodrigo Mendoza, the 21-year-old midfielder, are the substitutes available for El Cholo, and it looks like he's gonna be. It looks like he's gonna be forced to make a substitution this early on in proceedings, as we're seeing Clement Longley warming up, and David Hanco seeming unable to fully run as he's limping off the pitch on his own validity, but nonetheless not in a condition for which he can run and actively participate in the rest of this game. Less than half an hour played, and already Atleti have gotten themselves one of their starting 11 defenders injured, at least starting 11 for this match. Barça looking to build once more. And Lamine Yamal here down the right. Lamine looking to make inroads, does find Eric Garcia. Garcia unable to hold on to the ball, and Atleti do get it back. Looking to charge down the left-hand side here. Brilliant recovery from Barça. The ball lands the way of Dani Olmo. Olmo with a floating cross in towards Marcus Rashford, and it is just denied by Musso. Brilliant save by the Argentine, as Barça almost found themselves the opener. Again, Rashford involved. It's a brilliant cross down the right-hand side, this time from Jules Koundé, doing very well to spot the opening that Marcus Rashford had down the left-hand side, weighing the ball perfectly into him. And it's a brilliant piece of play. And I stand corrected. It was Dani Olmo with the floating cross, actually. Koundé was one of the two players that helped win the ball back for Barça initially. And the ball bouncing between teams at the moment, and Barça unable to really make the most of Lamine Yamal. Olmo looks to find him here as he charges into a tackle. Looks like he might have gotten himself injured as well. This time, we do see a yellow card, and this time it does land for Resurrección for Koke. Of course, a mainstay in La Liga, a mainstay in Atleti, first and foremost. Does get himself a yellow card here, which, if anything, should not come as a surprise to anyone. Although Marc Pubil now does replace David Hanco. And for what it's worth, the entrada by Koke there, pretty nasty, as he got way more of Olmo than he did of the ball. And Barca now on the edge of the box here, looking to build with Koundé. Here's Lamine Yamal down the right. Lamine up against two. Lamine dribbles inwards, then goes back out. Has Koundé to his right. Lamine looking to make inroads himself. Lamine, brilliant dribbling. Lamine with the shot. It's blocked. Picks it back up. Shoots again. Another block. The ball finds itself on the edge of the box. It is brilliant slaloming, breathtaking play by Lamine Yamal as he zigzagged his way through the Atleti defense. Unlucky for him, though, could not find the shot he was hoping for. And here come Barça again. Jules Koundé down the right after a good sequence of play by the Catalan outfit here in the middle of the park. Pedri now for Gerard Martin. Brilliant strike, just wide from Barça's number 18. And boy, oh boy, is his confidence sky high at the moment. And you can understand why with the performances he's been putting in. Again, Lamine Yamal, brilliant dribbling, got through Koke, Ademola Lookman, and Ruggeri. The shot was then blocked by Robin Lenormand. He picked it up on the bounce, took another one. That one was blocked as well by Mark Pubil. No rest for the wicked as Barca continue their attacking play down the left hand side this time. Cancelo and Rashford involved. And the ball now finds itself at the feet of Jules Koundé down the right. And for Pedri, Olmo looking to hold on to it. Gets fouled, it seemed. And yes, he does get fouled. This time, Robin Lenormand, the culprit, had pushed up this time and does end up fouling Dani Olmo, who is instantly there to help restart play. Rashford combining with Cancelo. Cancelo, brilliant fake to find Rashford again. Rashford down the left. Rashford might find a chance here, and his attempt at a cross, well, a cutback rather, as it were, unsuccessful and denied by Koke, and it will be a corner for Barca. Appears to be a slight issue here. We'll see whether it is a corner or just a restart of play. Seems to be the latter, as Jacques Cancelo looking to restart play here. The referee asking Giuliano Simeone to kindly step away and give space for that to happen as Barca get the ball in their possession, now in their half, and all the way back to base with the safe hands and feet of Joan Garcia. Kicks it long here down the left-hand side, looking to find help. Managed to find Lewandowski now. Marcus Rashford down the left. Rashford up against Longley. Brilliant move. Gets away from him. Rashford, can he keep it in play? He could not, but he does get the corner. Stepping up to take the corner now is Marcus Rashford. Not too many bodies in the box. Only 5 in Barca colors, it seems. 2 of which are there to distract Musso. One of them being Jules Koundé. Olmo right next to Ruggeri, also close to Musso. And it does go short as Rashford here with a seemingly a strike from distance. A very tight angle. It wasn't really at odds to make it, as Barca do win it back here. Brilliantly held by Pedri, press resistant as ever. And Barca do wind up back in possession, as it appears as though the throw-in was given. Yep. The ball now finds itself down the right-hand side as Barca shifted the ball to try and also shift the Atleti defense, who have been extremely disciplined and extremely aware thus far tonight, and definitely have worked on some of the issues they had against Barca last time these two sides met. Of course, the 2-1 victory for Barca, late goal scored by Robert Lewandowski. And, well, for Barca, ideally, knowing that you're going back to the Metropolitano and knowing that if you keep playing the way you are and keep getting the results you've been getting, La Liga should not be a question mark anymore. If you can at the same time manage to ensure that one of your two league rivals in Atleti don't make it further in the Champions League, well, then that's another very good point to top off what has been a very turbulent season, all things considered. Very hectic season for Barca, as Joan Garcia finds support in Paco Barcia over for Lamine Yamal, receives it and instantly is pressed, cuts inside and brilliantly looks to switch it to Marcus Rashford. Seems to have found him. Good first touch by the Englishman. Marcus Rashford up against Longley. looks to cut away from him, does now on the edge of the box here, finds Lamine Yamal, cuts in, and Lamine Yamal with a, well, attempted 1-2. Didn't quite work out, and it looks like Barca have a man down, although they continue to play on here with an attempted floated ball by Pedri towards Robert Lewandowski. Looks like Rashford remains down as Barca very, very efficiently neutralize Atleti's attempt at a counter-attack, with Antoine Griezmann being the only one up there. And Giuliano Simeone and Marcus Rashford clashing there. We'll see if Rashford is good to go for the rest of the game, as he is limping at this point in time. And given that we're approaching halftime ever slowly, with 38 minutes on the clock right now, leaving us a couple of minutes until regular time has been played, and then, of course, the injury time added on, which I expect will be around 3 to 4 minutes at most. This time, Lamine Yamal down, and I think it's again Koke, it seems, who already is on a yellow, remember. Could change the entire outlook of this game if Koke definitely swiped at Lamine Yamal there, not even close to getting the ball. Question is whether that will be deemed enough of an offense to warrant a second yellow and thus a sending off in the first half. The answer to that so far is no. Both players continue to have their 11 men out on the pitch. And Barca continue to attempt to build through Lamine Yamal. Not the best first touch, but does get it and keep it here up against Ruggeri. He's done really well to get some green ahead of him. Now holding it up a little bit, awaiting support as well as the pressure, as he finds Pedri on the edge of the box here. Pedri over for Martin. Here is Cancelo on the left-hand side. Has support by Rashford on the inside. Cancelo goes with a cross, and the cross goes out for a corner. 5 minutes to go of regular time of the first half of this game. And it is still 0-0. Barca have gotten the close to scoring, although that isn't saying a lot, given that realistically you're talking maybe 2 to 3 scoring chances. As Barca's corner here does float over the heads of everyone, and Atleti do get it back, looking to start a counter-attack here. It falls the way of Pau Cubarsí, who's there to calmly pick it up, distribute it out on the right for Lamine Yamal. Lamine awaiting the support of Jules Koundé on the overlap. Lamine cuts inside here well, then back outside, looking to maybe find a pass through the byline. Unable to keep hold of it, as Ruggeri did incredibly well to thwart him. And Atleti back in possession as they look to build through the middle now. Not too much support, although the only support really down the left. And through the middle here, as they've almost managed to find Julian Alvarez, who claims he was fouled in a very dangerous position. And we are seeing a yellow card issued. But is it the way of Pau Cubarsí? Simeone, being Diego and Giuliano, both arguing with the fourth, one of them arguing with the fourth official, the other one arguing with linesman. It does seem as though Giuliano Simeone is the man who, yep, it is Giuliano Simeone, and it is Pau Cubarsí. Pau Cubarsí was chasing him from behind and appears to have touched him off balance. And it seems as though Atleti are calling for a red card. A VAR review is taking place, or about to take place here. A potential red card for Pau Cubarsí, which is now being checked by Istvan Kovac, the referee tonight. Of course, this in conjunction with the VAR team in the VAR room, as groups of players are arguing. And we'll have to see whether it is a potential red card. Of course, the red card rule being that if it is a clear goal scoring opportunity, and he would have been a one-on-one, hence the call from Atleti. But the question is whether he did enough to warrant a red card as well. because seemingly no offside question here. The question is whether Kubarsi did enough to warrant a direct red card, which would also mean a suspension for the return leg at the Metropolitano. And the referee has made his decision. We'll have to wait and see as he's making his way over to Pau Kubarsi. And it looks like he's put the yellow card in his pocket. And it looks like he's taking out. No, he retracted the yellow, and put out the red. It will be a red card for Pau Kubarsi, sent off 43 minutes in. For in truth, a rather soft call for a red card. That is unbelievable. For a referee that's been so lackadaisical with his card issuing this game so far, to issue a straight red for as soft a challenge as that seemed to be, at least on the replays as well. Kubarsi himself also wanting to check it at the VAR screens. And of course, now for Atleti, they wanted a red card for Gerard Martin last game. That didn't happen. Now they have one for Pau Kubarsi, which means more than likely we'll see a center back pairing of either Araujo and Martin or Araujo and Garcia. As Alvarez takes the shot, and it's a goal, and it's a beautiful free kick from Juli Alvarez. A direct free kick goal for Atleti off the back of the red card issued to Pau Kubarsi following. And truthfully for Barca, that is as against the run of play as it gets. If you want to talk about unlucky, don't look further. Don't look any further than this. Because again, the red card, at least to me, seems a bit harsh. You could argue the potential. You could argue the foul seems quite obvious. But a direct red card, when you've been very happy to not issue any other red cards, any very, very, very few yellow cards, when the argument could be made that other players should have maybe gotten cards at all, just seems dubious as Robert Lewandowski is flung to the ground here by Marc Pubil, who does only get a yellow. In fairness, probably not a red card challenge, but did absolutely fling him to the ground. And now Ronald Araujo warming up here, as Barca will have to play the rest of this game with 10 men and now down a goal. Free kick for Barca, quite far away. And looks like it will be an in-swinger from Marcus Rashford down the right-hand side. It is an in-swinger, and it's floating. It's denied by Atleti. Bounces all the way out to the right-hand side of Atleti, the left of Barca. Picked back up, and Barca looking to make something happen as we have 4 minutes of injury time. Already half of those have been used up. And maybe a chance here for Barca down the left-hand side. If Robert Lewandowski can be found, Lewandowski denied on the turn. It's a really good strike from the Polish striker, but he's denied by Musso. Again, on the turn, excellent strike, just about deflected off of Robin Lenormand. And Barca, thus far, 11 shots registered, 4 on target. Atleti, 4 shots on target. Whereas Barca have had 4 shots on target. Atleti have had 4 shots in total, half of those on target, excuse me. And as for Barca, 11 shots, 4 on target. So you can make of that information what you will. To me, it seems rather evident that Barca have lacked in being clinical with their finishing. Lamine Yamal has lacked in the final ball, although he's found himself in very good positions at times. Although Atleti have done incredibly well to silence him for the majority of this game and only allowed him to really do something in stints. And he's looked very promising. But with 30 seconds to go of the first half, Barca might just have to live with the fact that this first half will end with three major events. The red card to Pau Cubarsí, the direct free kick scored by Julian Alvarez, and being 1-0 down at home in a game where really that should not be the case, having conceded a goal very much against the run of play. And of course, the VAR images once again confirming what we already knew. Giuliano Simeone was nowhere near offside when the ball was played. Again, that is something that Atleti have really uh, made a lot of, ensuring that they don't get caught by Barca's offside trap. And we've seen that time and time again. They've been able to beat that trap time and time again. Prime example of that being the 5-2 loss that Barca took earlier this season, in the Copa. And so, again, it is a very disappointing first half. Well, the end of it anyway from Barca. Lacked the clinical finishing that a team like Barca needs at a time like this, in a game like this. And realistically, could you argue that the penalty, not the penalty, the red card was too harsh? I think the argument is definitely there. I personally do not think a red card was fair in that instance, but Barca could have and should have done a lot better with their finishing, with their final through ball, their decision making in the final third should have been a lot better. And that is the unequivocal truth. But that being said, this is the perfect time for a brief halftime break. We'll be back right after this. But elsewhere in the Champions League, of course, just to give you a very, very quick recap before we go for a very brief break, allowing you to also get a drink or a snack for the remainder of this showdown here, Barca and Atleti face to face. Yesterday, the Champions League games were, well, it was Real Madrid and Bayern Munich facing off. That was a loss to Real Madrid. Bayern Munich with the win 2-1, ultimately the final score. Arsenal beating Sporting only 1-0 away from home, and only in the final minute with Kai Havertz this time scoring the winner. Thus far, it is Barca nil, Atleti 1, Barca down to 10 men. In addition to that, if you're just joining us, Paco Barti did get a red card for a foul on Giuliano Simeone, while Simeone would have been through on goal. And elsewhere in the Champions League, Paris Saint-Germain are currently beating Liverpool 1-0 through an early goal in the 11th minute by Desire Doué. That is how it stands as we go into a brief halftime break. I am Omar Hawash. Get your drinks, get your snacks, and I will see you in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We are back. Welcome back to BG Match Day. I am still Omar Hawash, and this is still coverage of the Champions League fixture tonight. The showdown between Barca and Atleti for the second time in a span of mere days. And of course, the prospect of the return leg at the Metropolitano looking a little bit more difficult for Barca and a little bit more of a difficult mountain to climb now with 10 men with Paco Barcia being sent off on the brink of the halftime whistle due to a challenge on Giuliano Simeone. We're currently, of course, awaiting to see whether Hansi Flick does indeed opt for the change, introducing Ronald Araujo, which looks very, very likely. Of course, Araujo having suffered from a muscle overload earlier this week, a couple of days ago, and was cleared for the game tonight. Okay, and look now is looking to come off the bench. Is one of the bench players tonight for Barça, but could very soon be one of the 10 men to fill the pitch in Blaugrana. For Barça, the bench options not looking bad, and definitely some room for introduction for Hansi Flick and his side. So, just to go over them very, very briefly, Wojciech Chesney and Kushan, of course, options as well, although very unlikely that we'll see them field today. Alejandro Balde, uh, Alvaro Cortes, of course, the youth player, Ronald Araujo, Fermin Lopez, Gavi, Marc Casado, who, as we reported exclusively earlier this week, is now willing to listen to offers from other clubs as his future at Barca looking a bit more bleak than it did at the start of the season, of course, with the resurgence of Marc Bernal following his return from injury, as well as Eric Garcia, of course, now being uh, more seen as a midfielder than a defender under Hansi Flick. What we're seeing now is, of course, as well, Tommy Marquez, Xavi Espart, Ferran Torres, and Rooney Bargi being the options for Hansi Flick. And we are seeing some changes in personnel going into the second half. This is the Champions League. This is Atleti and Barça at the Camp Nou. And we are about ready for the second half. Gavi has been introduced. We're awaiting to see exactly who that is for. I must remind you, Barca are now going to play this with 10 men. Gavi has been taken on for Pedri, interestingly enough. And of course, Pedri took a few knocks in this first half. And so, presumably, it is a precautionary measure to take off Pedri and field Gavi instead. Ronald Araujo still on the bench, so no Araujo yet. So the substitution appears to be Pedri off for Gavi and Fermin Lopez off for, well, yes, Fermin Lopez on for Robert Lewandowski. So the interesting part here will be whether we'll see Marcus Rashford at the 10, which is something I personally have been calling out for a long time. We'll see Fermin Lopez here down the left-hand side. Looks like he will be the left winger. And we'll see how he does there. Cancelo now down the left-hand side. It does seem as though Marcus Rashford does seem to be the number 9 here in this setup, interestingly enough. And finally, maybe earning the trust of Hansi Flick as a potential successor, at least for the short term, should he sign on a permanent deal following the end of the season. Of course, that is when the uh, loan spell with Manchester United does run out, and he will have to return back to his parent club unless a permanent deal can be struck, whether that is with Barca or with another team. Of course, United having undergone a lot of changes. Ruben Amorim was, of course, the manager to uh, allow Rashford to go out on loan. They've since had Michael Carrick come to the fore, and whether he stays beyond this season is of course also a little bit in the balance. Although he has improved the team significantly results-wise since coming back for his second stint as interim manager for the Red Devils. Barca looking to build down the right hand side. Lamine Yamal loses possession. Atleti win it right back here through the middle. Not much help forward, and does go back for Marcos Llorente. Here is Ruggeri for Ademola Lookman. Now back for Lenormand and Marc Pubil, who is on a yellow card already. Rashford is indeed the Taking up the number 9 spot, Fermin Lopez is the left winger, as we saw firstly against Guadalajara, and since then he's been playing as a makeshift left winger, of course, with Afinia injured, well, out rather, and Olmo here clearing the play as Atleti look to advance the play forward. So now Olmo remains as the 10, Fermin Lopez down the left, Lamine Yamal down the right, Marcus Rashford at the 9, and the double pivot now being Eric Garcia and Gavi, the defense being Jacques Cancelo, now, well, still at the left back position, Jules Koundé at the right back position. And, well, it actually does seem as though the number 10 has been, the number 10 position seems to have been not necessarily neglected, but definitely not as emphasized. Olmo has dropped a little, slightly deeper, allowing Rashford to sort of help drop back and help build play, and either of Olmo or Gavi to press. Presumably, Olmo to press further forward, which is what we're seeing now. Gavi sort of holding space a bit further back the pitch as Barca look to win it back here. Atleti playing with fire as Robin Lenormand does keep the ball, passing it down the left now back across for Atleti, and they've lost possession. And Giuliano Simeone, despite his acrobatics, couldn't keep the ball in play for Atleti. He's given it away for a throw-in for Barca, and they're looking to build here down the left-hand side. Gavi back for Gerard Martin. Olmo coming in to give an option. Eric Garcia, the center back now, over for Koundé. Back to Eric Garcia, across for Gerard Martin. Shuffles it over for Cancelo, looking to do a 1-2, although the receiving party didn't seem to be there. Ball now back with Joan Garcia. Over for Gerard Martin. Decent first touch. Good ball into space here. Jacques Cancelo is tucked inside, found Lamine Yamal, and a ball over for Marcus Rashford. Rashford takes it away from Musso, and his shot just goes wide. Did incredibly well there, Marcus Rashford, to touch it away from the charging Argentinian goalkeeper Musso. And it's a really, really beautiful Trivela pass from Lamine Yamal, the same one we saw him feed Fermin Lopez just a match day ago. And although Marcus Rashford did really well to get away from Musso and find himself in front of what seemed like an open net, Marc Pobil did incredibly well to match that with standing in just the right space to really make him have to think about it twice as Jules Koundé nutmegged seemingly Julian Alvarez to keep the ball in the grasp, within Barca's grasp, as Gavi is found here for Olmo. Olmo now dropping below the behind the halfway line. Gavi a little bit further forward. Now Gavi finds himself in line with Olmo. Cancelo down the left looking for a Trivela through ball here towards Fermin Lopez, who almost got to it, but not quite. And Atleti now looking to build an attack of their own here down the right-hand side with Giuliano Simeone. Ball now finds itself in the middle, and Barca get it back for Lamine Yamal. Lamine charging here at the Atleti defense, falls to ground, and it will be a foul for Barca. Although seemingly no card issued, which I think is what Barca are arguing, that maybe that one should be a card as well, as it was a pretty reckless challenge from Robin Lenormand, really. Looked to get the ball, but got way more of Lamine Yamal. And we'll see if Barca can respond to Julian Alvarez direct free kick goal with one of their own, as Lamine Yamal spurring the crowd on at the Camp Nou. And Hansi Flick having a bit of a chat with the officials on the sidelines, and it looks like Marcus Rashford is stepping up to the plate. And it looks like he'll be doing that alone. So what we're potentially looking at is not as much a floating cross, in part due to Barca's lack of aerial threat for the most part. So what we could be looking at here is a shot on goal for the Englishman, continuing his fine form for Barca. This could be a very crucial moment for Barca in the Champions League, and one for Marcus Rashford as he's stepping up to take this alone. He has Olmo to his right and Gavi to his left for short passing options, but it does seem like he might go for the shot here. Rashford up against Musso. Rashford Brilliant thunder strike from Marcus Rashford. But it looks like it went off the crossbar. Musso seems to have got a fingertip to it. To watch it back, it's a brilliant strike floating towards the left. Musso just about touches it onto the crossbar. He does indeed, and it will be a corner for Barca. We'll see if they can make something happen out of this. Marcus Rashford at the corner flag. And another in-swinger coming all the way towards the back post. It's headed into the mixer, and it's not received by any Barca player as Atleti look to build their counter. Lamine Yamal chasing it down to get the throw in his way. And looks like he'll give it to Koundé. Yes, he will. Referee saying play on. And Barca do. Martin. Garcia. Here is Gavi. Back to Garcia. Cancelo on the ball. Faked going forward. Went back and then faked it again. And he's been really, really confident on the ball, the Portuguese fullback. A very welcome addition to Barca. Good ball in here towards Gavi and Olmo, who shifted over for Cancelo. Back in for Dani Olmo. Good triangular play here by Barca as the ball finds itself in the left half space now. Good dribbling here by Fermin Lopez. Lopez with a strike from distance. And well, it's not a bad one by Fermin, but it's not one that was going to trouble Musso realistically, and it does go out of play. Atleti ready with two changes of their own. Alexander Sörloth and Alex Baena, the two players ready to be introduced to this fixture. I must remind you, it is the 54th minute of play. 9 minutes into the second half. It is still, Barca still trail 1-0 at the Camp Nou. The goal courtesy of a direct free kick by Julian Alvarez following the red card issue to Paco Barti on the brink of halftime, putting Barca down to 10 men as they have to try to win this game. Of course, having beat Atleti in the reverse fixture in the Copa 3-1, then beating Atleti in La Liga 2-1. Following the 5-2 battering that Barca took in the first leg of the Copa game against Atleti. They've risen to form since that 5-2 defeat. And so a loss here would, well, not be by any means the result Barca would hope for, but even more so, not the result Barca would expect coming into this game, because 3 on the bounce does look more likely than 2 wins and a loss, especially given the way both teams have played. Barca have by far looked the more dangerous side going forward. And Atleti with some interesting play earlier as Musso passed it to his compatriot down the right-hand side, who stopped it with his hand to restart play inside the 6-yard box. Much to Barca's dismay, although the referee didn't have any comments to add on to that would significantly change the impact of anything. And the game goes on. The show goes on. And the show right now is waving a rojiblanco flag as Atleti continue their 1-0 lead in spite of a very significant lack of dominance shown by the away side in this game. The goal very much coming against the run of play, as Marcus Rashford claims he was roadblocked by Robin Lenormand and showing quite the frustrated look. Although the referee saw nothing that would indicate foul play in that instance, as Barca might win it here through Olmo. They do win the ball back through Olmo and Rashford. Here is Lamine Yamal down the right. Lamine up against Ruggeri. Now charged down by Ademola Lookman. Lamine goes inside. Finds help in Gavi. Good movement from Gavi here. Does find Yamal again. Now back for Eric Garcia. Garcia for Gavi. Gavi driving forward. In for Eric Garcia. Good ball in. And now all the way out to the left-hand side with Fermin Lopez. Now Joao Cancelo hugging the touchline here. Cancelo drives inwards, unable to find the pass. It does bounce back out to Barca, though, the way of Gavi. And Barca playing it around their own back line, who's very much pushed past the halfway line at this point. Barca attacking with all 10 men, as Atleti look to push them back just a little bit. Fermin lost possession, then slid in to win it back. Atleti claim a foul. Barca say it should have just been a throw-in. And it looks like the referee agrees with the latter, as Fermin slid in to get the ball away from Antoine Griezmann. Barca get the ball and get the throw-in their way. The ball now finds itself on the right-hand side with Lamine Yamal up against Ruggeri. Lamine assessing his options, going for Rashford down the line. It's a good ball. Rashford does really well to keep it in here. Charged down by Lenormand and Marc Pubil, and looks like he might have won himself another corner. Nope, looks like it will be a goal kick instead. No, it will be a corner, but it won't be taken by Marcus Rashford. It is from the right-hand side, and it is a left-footed player to take it. And that left-footed player is Lamine Yamal. Looking to take this corner at the Camp Nou. 58 minutes in, Barca looking to get one back. Yamal with it goes to the near post, and it almost landed for Dani Olmo at the far post. He just couldn't get to the ball in time. Again, it's a very good piece of play. It's headed backwards. Koundé looked to flick it on with his back heel. Did not get to it. Had he gotten to it, though, it would have definitely been a shot on target. Olmo also did not get to it, finding himself to be the man at the very far post and very much in front of an open goal, but could not get to it. And Barca still goalless in this one, as Atleti make two changes. Ademola Lookman comes off, as does Koke, who is on a yellow, and they're replaced by, respectively, Alexander Sörloth and Alex Baena. So two very attacking substitutions for Atleti. Of course, Sörloth, a very much out-and-out number 9. And as for Alex Baena, able to play through the middle as a midfielder, able to play off the wing as well. And we'll see whether they'll change their shape or whether they'll be slot-ins. Once again, the ball possession for Barca, obviously 56%. Not a surprise there. Barca have had 16 shots, 6 of them on target. Atleti, well, far less than that. And their goal coming from a direct free kick. For Atleti, it's been 4 shots, 2 on target still. So no shots in the second half. Barca have had 14, so 3 shots since the second half started. And might have another one here. Marcus Rashford finds himself through on goal. Rashford just denied as he's about to take the shot. Brilliant defending from Atleti to make sure he couldn't get the shot away. Although, had he done that, well, he would have definitely, at the very least, troubled Musso from that position. And once more, Rashford showing some prowess and getting into the right space at the right time and troubling the Atleti defense. As Atleti's offense found themselves quite unable to break down Barca here and found themselves in an offside position as they tried to veer forward here. Barca now go back to base with Joan Garcia. Here's Eric Garcia over for Jules Koundé down the right. Koundé awaits Lamine Yamal. Ultimately goes back to Garcia. Joan in for the on-running Gavi, who does well to come show support. Eric Garcia now back to Joan. Barca playing with fire, but doing well in the process. Gerard Martin going for a long ball over towards Rashford. He's done well to, at the very least, pose a challenge to the Atleti defense, although wasn't able to really keep hold of the ball. And Atleti look to attack here on the right with Alexander Sörloth. Here is Giuliano Simeone. Simeone in for Sörloth. Is he offside? Doesn't seem to be. Sörloth looks for the shot. It's blocked by Dani Olmo, no other, as well as Gavi, who slid in to help out. It looks like it might have been called back for an offside. It's a brilliant, brilliant challenge by Gavi, really throwing his body at it. And it does look like it might have been called back for offside, actually, because Barca restarted the play in their own half. as they tried to get the ball down the left hand side, work it through Fermin Lopez and Cancelo. Fermin's pass unable to, well, get dispatched as it was. And Barca win it back here as Molina wasn't able to keep the ball in play. Dani Olmo doing really well despite being chased by two, stumbling over it twice. And that time it will be a yellow card. This time it will be shown for Atleti and seemingly for Alex Baena. Does seem to be a yellow card for Alex Baena. Yes, it is. And, well, he pulled on Daniel Olmo's shirt about 4 times in that sequence of play, and it took 3 of them for the referee to call the foul ultimately. And Barca looking to play through here. Lamine Yamal almost found the ball through. And looks like another foul is called the way of Barca. Lamine Yamal having a bit of a talk with Julian Alvarez. The foul is given the way of Barca, but again, this time no card. Olmo finds Cancelo on the left and drops into the half space. Cancelo looked to return the favor, was unable to do that from the touchline and in. Ball does bounce back the way of Barca though, as Gavi picks it up. Here's Gerard Martin, chased down by Sorlot. Goes over for Eric Garcia. Here's Koundé now. Frenchman looking at his options and decides that backwards is the best way to go. Goes for Joan Garcia, has Gavi in support. Goes for a brilliant ball in between the two strikers, in for Dani Olmo. Here's Cancelo. Fermin, Olmo in the half space. Olmo finds Rashford, good first touch, it seemed, but wasn't able to really flick it on to Lamine Yamal as he had intended. And Atleti now find themselves back in possession. 64 minutes on the clock, 26 minutes left of regular time. Barca find themselves unable to really dispatch the shots coming from seemingly clear-cut opportunities. But it does feel as though it will just be a matter of time if Barca can continue to create chances the way they have been. Atleti have seemingly been more than happy to defend as Fermin Lopez chasing down Marcos Llorente. Again and again, brilliant slide tackle from Fermin to win it off of Llorente. And Atleti's clearance goes the way of Dani Olmo. Lamine Yamal driving forward, falls to ground. Thought there was a foul. Ref said no. Gavi chases down an Atleti midfielder and pulls his shirt the same way that Olmo's shirt was pulled earlier. This time does pick up a yellow. The player, of course, in question being Antoine Griezmann. And the roadblock technique that we've previously seen yellow cards be given for, where you stand still and wait for the player to come to you rather than actively tackle them, has over the years given a lot of yellow cards. Alex Baena was already on a yellow and did not get a second yellow, even though he very clearly did just that this time. Meanwhile, Pau Cubarti got sent off directly with a red card for a very soft challenge, although the main argument, of course, will be that he was tackling the player who would be the last man. And Giuliano Simeone would have been one-on-one with Joan Garcia. And so for that, of course, could make the argument that it is a fair red card, although the challenge was incredibly soft. And for me, I don't agree with the red card being issued at that point, especially not when you correlate it with how the referee has been, aside from that, up until that point with issuing cards, very lackadaisical. Just having given fouls and warnings up until about 2 minutes prior to that red card, and giving the red card straight away after giving a yellow to Atleti. And since then, has also been reluctant to hand out yellow cards throughout the second half to both sides for challenges that arguably warranted yellow cards. But you don't win games by cards, you win them by goals. And so far, Barca have none. Atleti have one. Their goal, scored by Julian Alvarez, a direct free kick, a beautiful free kick, leaving no room for Joan Garcia to save it. And that was scored on the brink of halftime. So far in the second half, about 21 minutes into this, we have not seen a single goal. And Atleti have been more than happy to defend this game and defend the scoreline. Barca, of course, will be missing Pau Cubarsí for the return leg at the Metropolitano next week. But in between this game and that game will be Barca against Espanyol this weekend. As Atleti with an attacking down the left-hand side, the cross goes in. It's denied by Barca, then picked up by Dani Olmo. Combining with Fermin Lopez, Olmo does well, really well, in fact, to dummy the ball and have it go the other way down the right-hand side as he combined with Lamine Yamal. Barca have a man down who got back up now. Lamine Yamal still driving forward now, surrounded by 4 Atleti players, falls to ground. Lamine Yamal arguing with the referee that maybe a card should be issued that time. Referee not agreeing with the assessment and only gives a foul as, very clearly the man who fell earlier was Gavi, as Julian Alvarez had tackled him and then I believe proceeded to tackle Lamine Yamal, not getting a yellow for either of those challenges, even though he didn't get the ball in any of those challenges. But that is how it goes sometimes, and Barca will have to live with that fact. And it does seem like we might see Xavi Espart at some point in the second half. We'll have to wait and see. As this free kick is to be taken by Marcus Rashford down the right-hand side, it will without a doubt be an outswinger towards the far post. And indeed it is. And it's denied by Atleti at the first time of asking. Bounces back out for Barca. They win it back. They get it back instantly through Fermin Lopez. Cubarsí responds. Well, not Cubarsí, sorry. Cubarsí will respond against Espanyol following what happened this game. But Barca do keep it in play here. Lamine Yamal over for Olmo. Olmo looking to take a shot. He falls to ground inside the box. But no foul, says the referee, as Olmo chases down Llorente. Llorente slides as he makes the pass. And Atleti just about get the ball out of there. And a long ball in towards Alexander Sørloth, who does fall to ground as he finds Alex Baena down the right-hand side. Baena thought about his options, drove inside and went back to Marcos Llorente. Griezmann. Ball now on the left-hand side. With Simeone. Griezmann now gets it in and sends it over the left-hand side. Ruggeri! And there is the second goal! Atleti have doubled their lead, and it comes through Alexander Sørloth. 70 minutes in, it is Barca 0, Atleti 2. And if you want to talk about against the run of play, that is the unequivocal description for every goal this game has had thus far. 70 minutes in, Barca with no goals and 10 men, Atleti with 2 goals. And, all 11. It's a really good finish by Alexander Sørloth. It's a good cross from Ruggeri. Just waited for Sørloth to get ahead of Gerard Martin. And Martin, despite his best efforts, couldn't block his shot. Joan Garcia couldn't save the shot, although he got agonizingly close. And on that note, it is 2-0. And, that is Sørloth's 6th goal in 12 Champions League matches so far. Of course, Julian Alvarez got his 9th in 12 Champions League matches so far. The players having featured in virtually every Champions League game Atleti have had this season. The pair combined have scored 15 across the 12. And for Barca, things looking quite bleak, you have to say. And Ronald Araujo now ready to come on. We'll see who he replaces. Although, arguably, the defense should be the least of your concerns if you're Hansi Flick at this point. Because, again, the amount of shots Barca have taken, the amount of chances Barca have created, there is no logical reason as to why Barca shouldn't have at least a goal to their name in this game so far. Because, quite frankly, Musso has not made any spectacular saves this game. Barca have just been wasteful in front of goal. And sure, there still is a second leg to go, but there is a game against Espanyol between this one and the return leg. And, well, whoever wins the aggregate score of this and the second leg game goes to the semifinals, where you could potentially face Arsenal, PSG, Bayern, Real Madrid, Sporting, just to name a few, or most of them. And Marcus Rashford now replaced by Ferran Torres. Ronald Araujo replaces Jules Koundé. So Hansi Flick wants to see the closest thing to a number 9, really, in the roster, aside from Robert Lewandowski. And for me, Marcus Rashford is Ferran Torres. And he is now coming on here, 73 minutes in. Reminding you here, no Pedri on the pitch. He was replaced by Gavi. Fermin Lopez is on the pitch, as is Dani Olmo, Lamine Yamal, and now Ferran Torres. As Lamine takes this corner from the right-hand side. It is going towards the far post, and it's a close one. Ronald Araujo did well to challenge for that ball. We'll have to see what happened exactly. He did get a head onto it, but couldn't get the accuracy as he was chased down by Marc Pobil. 73 minutes in, the Camp Nou has seen 2 goals conceded the way of Barça and no goals scored by the boys in Blaugrana. Musso goes to the right. Barça chasing it, not winning it the first time. Olmo trying to use his head to win the second one. Barça do win it back. Cancelo doing well here. Gerard Martin shuffles it across for Eric Garcia. Olmo now down the left-hand side, looking for a long diagonal switch. Can't quite find it. Goes to Fermin on the left. Fermin finds the support he needed in Gavi, who's now on the left with Fermin floating in the half space. Olmo charging forward. Gavi. Fermin down the left now, in for Gavi in the half space. Saw Lamine on the diagonal. Couldn't quite muster the accuracy to launch that pass, and so kept it on the ground. Gavi's pass intercepted that time by Atleti. More specifically, by Antoine Griezmann. Musso on the ball now. Finds support in Lenormand. Here is Ruggeri. Griezmann running into his teammate, Barça. Not able to get the ball neither off of him nor off Marcos Llorente. And Atleti keep possession. With 15 minutes left of regular time, it is still 2-0. The goals by Julian Alvarez and Alexander Sörloth being the ones making the difference, in addition to the red card that Barça got handed to them on the brink of halftime. That one issued to Pau Cubarsí, which arguably was, if not the difference maker, then definitely a difference maker. Because shortly after, from the subsequent free kick, is when Atleti broke the deadlock. Didn't score until about a minute ago, when Alexander Sörloth received a cross from Ruggeri and deftly put it into the back of the net. Ball going in here, floating towards the right-hand side. Can Atleti win it? No is the ultimate answer, as Barça get the ball back. Olmo now finds Ronald Araujo down the right-hand side. Eric Garcia now in for Gerard Martin. Here's João Cancelo down the left. In for Fermin Lopez. Fermin up against a line of 2. Finds Olmo. Looking to find Fermin again, and it's just not fast enough. The pass, he got it away fast enough, but didn't really have the speed on it. Lamine Yamal doing brilliantly here. Up against 4 Atleti players. Ultimately gets sandwiched. And still seems like it's going to be just the foul. Marcos Llorente and Antoine Griezmann charging at him. Griezmann with the follow-up to get the ball, but Llorente was the man that came in from behind. And no yellow card for Llorente for that challenge either. Lamine Yamal now stepping up to take this free kick. Of course, the last one was taken by Rashford, tipped onto the crossbar by Musso, who just about got a fingertip to it. And that was to the right of Musso, the left of the shooter. Here is Lamine Yamal, the floating cross in towards the left-hand side. Wasn't able to cash in the check, and Barca somehow managed to keep possession off of the Atleti bounce. Ball now goes back to Joan Garcia, who controls it very, very well as it went back to him by Jacques Cancelo, who's now waiting on the left-hand side for a switch. Should Dani Olmo want it? Barca very slowly building up play here, but again, it's not looking super dangerous as Cancelo's floated ball over the top. Unable to find Ferran Torres. They win it back. Barca over here. Cancelo cuts away from the defense, and his shot hits the side netting. Looks like Musso might have gotten a hand to it. It's really good pressure by Fermin Lopez. Cancelo wins it back, cuts away from the defense very, very, very well. And Lamine Yamal with a shot, and that time it's with the outside of his foot. It's an excellent strike, and it's just denied by Musso. Barca really putting on the pressure now. Fermin Lopez with the quick corner here for Lamine Yamal. Lamine down the left-hand side, falls to ground on, well, right around the box. Referee says nothing there as Lamine claims he was pushed. It's a really good strike from Lamine Yamal to get the corner the second time. And, well, if Barca keep pressing the way they are now, they might be able to muster a goal out of this, which, given how the game has gone, would not be too bad. And Atleti now making a double substitution. Thiago Almada and Nicolas Gonzalez introduced. Antoine Griezmann making way for one of those two. The other one making way is Giuliano Simeone. Ferran Torres gets the ball, finds Olmo. Olmo now for Fermin Lopez down the left. Fermin finds himself blocked by two bodies wearing red and white. Here is Gerard Martin down the left. And for Fermin holding it up well, looking for the brilliant through ball. And it is a brilliant through ball for Jacques Cancelo. Cancelo with a cross in towards the back post, and it's just not what he was hoping for, is it? That is a disappointing cross by the Portuguese. He's done so well today going forward. He's looked very dangerous. Just wasn't able to measure his cross there, the Portuguese, and wasn't able to really find someone on the receiving end of that. Lamine Yamal was making a run towards the back post, but was very far from getting there. And Atleti with a throw in their own half. It's just about one, but not quite. Barca win it back and give it to Atleti. Atleti on the attack here down the right-hand side. Barca 20 shots to their name. Atleti 5. Barca was 7 on target. Atleti 3. The scoreline 2-0 for Atleti, the away side at the Camp Nou. Barca down to 10 men. 9 minutes left, excuse me, of regular time. 9 minutes. As Atleti are playing with fire. Barca win it back. Can they keep it is the big question as they look to play it down the left-hand side here. And it looks like Fermin Lopez, well, he did fall to ground. The question is, will that be given as a foul as Marcos Llorente charged at him? That time it did seem like he got the ball. And he did indeed, according to the referee. It will just be a throw-in. Barca now shuffle it over to the right-hand side. Then back to the left. Gavi. Martin. Here is Cancelo. Thought about giving it to Gavi, but went back to Gerard Martin, hoping to open up space in the middle for Dani Olmo. There it is, the space. Got a Garcia now over for Ronald Araujo. Araujo looking to combine with Lamine Yamal. Lamine looks to find Araujo again. He charges at the ball, but he's unable to get it. And it looks like might have wiped out a certain Argentine in the process. It seemed like it was Julian Alvarez, but it was actually Robin Lenormand that he had trod on as Lenormand was clearing the ball out of play. And rather than getting the throw in, Ronald Araujo has given away a foul. And very frantically calling for it down the right-hand side, Nahuel Molina. He won't get it on the first time of asking, but he will. Well, still won't get it, actually. As Atleti look to play through the half space, they've given it away. Barca pick it up through Lamine Yamal. Lamine up against two, holds it up well. Back for his line of defense. Here is Gerard Martin. Martin for Lamine. First time ball in for Ferran Torres. Here is Dani Olmo. Falls to ground as he was trying to get the ball. And Atleti with a potential attack down the right-hand side. Here is Alexander Sørloth, chased down by Martin, and it's a brilliant challenge. It is a brilliant challenge by Eric Garcia, who came there to help. And Sørloth not getting very far, even though it did seem like he had an advantage with a lot of green ahead of him. It's a brilliant, brilliant tackle by Eric Garcia. So clean. As Atleti with a throw in here for Nahuel Molina. Sørloth does well to beat Cancelo, goes to the byline, looks for the cutback. It's denied by Barca. And is denied to the point of a corner, it seems. That's what Atleti are arguing. Barca are arguing the opposite. And, well, looking at the replay, it definitely hit Alexander Sørloth on the way out, even though it was bouncing off of him and Gerard Martin. The referee seems to believe that it hit Gerard Martin last. And so, well, he changed his mind. It will be a goal kick. Dani Olmo coming back to help build the play in a very defensive position for a player that used to be seen as a number 10. Has been repurposed quite a lot since joining Barca, especially given the needs that Hansi Flick has had in terms of the midfield and in terms of the attack and play, and has done incredibly well, at least for me, no matter where he's played, especially given his recent patch of injury-free games. He's done very, very well. Cancelo for Fermin Lopez. Fermin down the left. Skips away from Nahuel Molina. Now drives inside. Here is Lamine Yamal on the edge of the box. Lamine supported by Araujo. Lamine from the right-hand side. Lamine cutting inside. It's a brilliant move from Lamine. He's still on it. Lamine Yamal! And almost fell to ground. Looked to stand his ground. And ultimately could not get it past Musso. But it's a brilliant, brilliant weaving run from Lamine Yamal. Got in between 4, 5, 6 players. Marc Pubil, the last one, the 6th player, to ultimately push him off the ball and get the ball into the hands of Musso. Lamine Yamal really frustrated with himself. And Alejandro Balde now coming on for Jacques Cancelo in the final minutes as Barca look to make something happen and at least get one goal before having to face the second leg and face the music of this fixture, or this matchup rather, as Barca will have to go to the Metropolitano with a clear deficit in both Pau Cubarsí and on the scoreline. It's a brilliant move from Fermin Lopez, skipping away down the left-hand side. Fermin looking for options. In for Gavi. Gavi gets the ball and instantly gets dispossessed. Barca win it right back. Balde, good challenge. Finds Olmo. Olmo pressed by Julian Alvarez, but keeps it well. Here is Lamine Yamal down the right as he's found by Ronald Araujo. Lamine Yamal is pushed down twice and somehow doesn't get the foul. Some really, really questionable officiating on display tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Not that that would excuse a Barca loss from the eyes of Barca, but some really dubious decisions being made the way of officiating tonight. And Lamine Yamal was literally pushed down to the ground once and then wrestled off the ball the second time. And there wasn't even a foul given the way of Barca nor the way of Lamine Yamal. in what could be quite a dangerous position. Instead, Barca looked to build again from the halfway line here. Ball with Dani Olmo in for El Tiburon. Back for Eric Garcia. Here is Gerard Martin. Gavi. Garcia. Over for Olmo. And Barca shuffling the ball left to right, right to left around their halfway line. As Balde thought about driving forward, decided to go sideways. Eric Garcia. Here is Ronald Araujo. Back to Garcia. Line breaking pass for Daniel Olmo. Good pickup by Olmo. Now for Fermin Lopez. Fermin driving forward and doing well. Finds Araujo. Decent first touch. Here is Lamine Yamal. Brilliant turn to get away from pressure once. Passes it in for Ferran, who loses it. Lamine looks to pick it back up and couldn't really get there. And as Atleti looked to launch a counterattack off their own towards Alexander Sörloth, was a really good leap from Eric Garcia to make sure that he didn't get to that. As Barca looked to build again here through Lamine Yamal down the right, the catalyst of all things good for Barca in terms of offensive football. As Fermin with an attempted over-the-top ball into the mixer. It's blocked by Atleti, who win it back but give it away instantly as Barca look to chase it down here. Daniel Olmo running with all his might but unable to get the ball before it runs out of play for a throw-in. And with a minute to go of regular time, you do feel as though that might be all she wrote for the first leg of this Champions League showdown between these two sides. Elsewhere in the Champions League, PSG have doubled their lead. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia scoring the second for Paris Saint-Germain against Liverpool. So if the scores stay the way they are, you're looking at 2-2-0s today. 1-5-0 yesterday and 1-2-1. Brilliant turn from Lamine Yamal. He gets the ball from Daniel Olmo. Lamine cuts back inside. Lamine at the edge of the box. You're looking for a shot. Goes for Balde. Balde for Fermin Lopez down the left. Fermin with a cross in towards the back post, and it's floated over the head of Ferran Torres, who claims he was taken down. Referee does not want to listen to it. Musa urges him to get back up. And Alex Baena now in possession of the left half space with minutes to go of this one. Going over to the right-hand side. And Atleti slowing the play down to a crawl here, as they will be more than happy with this scoreline and with this outcome. Given their lack of attacking force in this match, they've been able to neutralize Barca's attacking threat to an extent of not conceding goals, although they haven't been able to neutralize the attacking threat of creating the chances. And had Barca been more clinical in this game, perhaps the red card would not have had the effect on them that it did have, and Atleti would not have had potentially the motivation to spur on and go for the second goal once they'd already gotten the first, courtesy of Julian Alvarez. So, all things considered, yes, the red card did change the outlook of the game, although Barca really do have themselves to blame for not having scored any goals in this game, regardless of which, as Lamine Yamal driving down the right-hand side here, tackled once, tackled twice, and still no foul, but does get the throw-in. Back for Araujo. 2 minutes to go of the 3 allotted in injury time. Still, Barca trailed by 2. Balde. Olmo. Olmo looks for a shot, slides to take it, and falls to ground, goes off balance. Looks like we'll see another foul here. Looks like he might have been fouled, and he's gotten back up and is limping now. He was, well, doesn't seem as though it was a foul on Daniel Olmo there, really. Looks like he just went off balance as he lost possession. Well, not lost possession, but took the shot. And as for the Ferran Torres incident earlier, Orbin Lenoman appears to have elbowed him in the back, or pushed him in the back, to ensure that El Tiburon did not get to that ball. Hence, Ferran Torres asking for a review of that, which never came. And so again, questionable decisions being made by the officials today, but by no means the sole reason for the scoreline as Lamine Yamal's cross is floating in towards the back post, and well, it's reached by the receiving party, but not in time as Barca only got the ball when it was too late and it was already out of play. And Atleti charging forward here in these last seconds. Alexander Sorlot down the right gets it, waits for the supporting run of Alex Baena. Baena cutting aside here in front of Alex Balde. Baena still on it, supported down the right here by Molina. Molina with a cutback. It's brilliantly picked out by Daniel Olmo, who finds Fermin Lopez. Olmo driving forward here, looking for support down the right hand side. It's a really good switch over for Ronald Araujo. Keeps it well here. Araujo with a switch over to Daniel Olmo. Olmo down the left. Olmo cuts inside. Olmo! And his shot is floating over and wide. And Barca just have not had any luck in front of goal today. As Diego Simeone appears to be walking through the tunnel, running over towards the locker rooms, it seems that is it. Barca lose by 2 goals to Atleti. A red card to Pau Barci, which means he will be missing the return leg at the Metropolitano about a week from now, as these two sides face again for what would be the last time this season. Of course, for Atleti, what they're looking at is a Copa game as well, and should they advance in this showdown here in the Champions League, they would, of course, also be looking at more Champions League games this season. Of course, 5 to go was including this one, so you have the second leg of the quarterfinal, then 2 semifinal games, then the final for whatever team advances. And so for the games that remain of the quarterfinal so far, what we've seen is the following: Barça nil, Atleti 2 was the game that we just covered now. Paris Saint-Germain beat Liverpool 2-0 at home, so the next game will be at Anfield in England. Then you have the Real Madrid and Bayern Munich showdown that ended in a 2-1 victory to Bayern Munich. And of course, the return game will be at the Allianz, where Bayern will go in with a 1-goal advantage. Sporting only lost by a single goal to Arsenal in the home game, and so we'll be going to the Emirates for their return leg. So that is it for Champions League football tonight. Next game for Barça is that against Espanyol in La Liga. Of course, in terms of the league table, it won't matter all that much. Espanyol are, comfortably sitting mid-table at this point in time in 10th, surrounded by Athletic Club and Osasuna on equal amount of points, 38. Barça, 76 points to their name in La Liga so far. 30 games played, 8 match days remain. Barça with a 7-point leap and lead ahead of second place Real Madrid. Villarreal in third with 58, and Atleti, who just beat Barça 2-0, in fourth with 57 points. A long way to go for Real Betis in fifth with 45 points, and Celta just a point behind in sixth with 44 points. So, league form, as we've already and always seen, does not necessarily reflect when it comes to Champions League fixtures. And tonight is a prime example of that. Barça lost to Atleti 5-2 in the Copa, proceeded to beat them 3-1, then proceeded to beat them 2-1 in La Liga, to then lose 2-0 today, following, and those goals scored only following the red card issued to Paco Barci, which will, without a doubt, be a talking point for many Blaugrana fans around the world, as well as potentially some of the Roy Blancos as well, and especially put in conjunction with the rather dubious decision making at times throughout the course of these 90 plus change minutes. Definitely not the prettiest game of football we've ever seen. Definitely not the prettiest game of football we'll ever see by any stretch of the imagination. But for Barça, if they play the same way they did today and apply a little bit of a clinical touch there finishing, this game would have ended very, 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 very differently. Because again, you look at the numbers, and the numbers, they don't really lie. Barca with the possession, as you'd expect, but only 58% to Atleti's 42. Barca had 18 shots that game, 7 on target. Atleti had 5 shots on target, 5 shots in total, 3 on target, 2 of them goals, one of them a direct free kick from Julio Alvarez. So you can make of that what you will. Um, Again, Atleti committed 17 fouls, Barca committed 6, and yet Barca, the ones with the red card, and the ones with the least yellow cards. So Atleti only got 3 yellow cards out of their 17 fouls. 17 fouls, and only 3 were deemed offenses at all, apart from issued as fouls. And that's not even taking into account the, the potential fouls that were not given. And then Barca with 2 yellow cards and 1 red. Atleti with 3 cards in total, all yellow, which means that they, of course, will not be missing anyone due to neither an accumulation nor a suspension of cards for the second leg. That is all she wrote. I thank you for tuning in to this coverage. I hope you, at the very least, enjoyed the coverage, if not the game. I have been Omar Hawash. This has been BG Match Day and a night of Champions League football that, for Blaugrana fans, should have ended a whole lot differently. And and that is it. Thank you for watching. I wish you a good rest of your day or evening.